Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to welcome our lunchtime keynote speaker, Mr. Frederic Cumenal, Chief Executive Officer at Tiffany & Co. When Mr. Cumenal has finished his remarks, he'll be joined on stage by Elsa Berry for the Q&A session. So would you please join me in welcoming Frederic Cumenal.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for the very generous introduction. And it's always a pleasure to speak to people that are eating while, yourself, you want to eat something. Frankly, it's a pleasure, and I feel very comfortable because, today I'm talking to a lot of people that are either have some French origin and or some common point with the French language, and you will, I trust, have more practice here for most of my English with French twist. So thank you for that. The Chamber asked me to speak today about two forces at play in the 21st century commerce of luxury goods. Two forces that are quite identical in English, tradition and innovation, as they are in French, tradition et innovation. Are these two at odds, and are tradition and innovation a paradox? If you were at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January, you saw the latest in drones, self-driving cars, and virtual reality headsets. And even there was a personal UV patch to measure your sun exposure while you're at play on the French Riviera. Some of us will rather not know. Even more recently, earlier this month, at South by Southwest, a robotic startup launched a throw and shoot camera, essentially a drone that can be thrown into the air and will automatically fly itself and follow you around to film your outdoor activities, presumably to be shared on social media. At the same time, Tiffany celebrates our own milestones here in April, the 1-year anniversary of our new watch collection, the Tiffany CT60, that does absolutely nothing more than tell time and look magnificent while doing its job. For any other company at any other time, this will be a punchline. Imagine the audacity of Tiffany to unveil a watch with no bells and whistles beyond its elegance and precision timekeeping. This Swiss-crafted timepiece, named for founder Charles Lewis Tiffany, will not snap a selfie or make a dinner reservation. What dazzles is the simplicity of design. A clean face with pure lines, and ours marked by perfect Arabic numerals, inspired by the watch that President Franklin Delano Roosevelt was given as a birthday gift at the end of World War II, the exact same watch he wore at Yalta. Today's Tiffany's watch is classic American art. And in this iPhone era, when so many of us expect the timepieces we carry in our back pocket to take video of our child's first steps and receive our email at the same time, 60 limited edition calendar pieces of the Tiffany CT60 sold out almost in a minute. At Tiffany, we see our experience with the CT60 as proof not of a paradox between innovation and tradition, but of the symbiotic relationship that they share. Because just when the speed of life, the emails, texts, and tweets, the calendar sharing and mobile banking and information overload, when all of this is worn to the tightest, fullest capacity of our technologies, the need to unwind and find respite imperfect objects of beauty, of meaning, become even more acute. Technology, forever building upon its latest and greatest, endlessly renders itself obsolete. But sometimes what matters the most is not what changes, but what doesn't. What has lived on not only through the current technological revolution, but what has survived so many revolutions before. It is not careless coincidence that when Apple's Steve Jobs invited the photographer Diana Walker into his California house in 1982, it was completely empty, but for some stereo components and a Louis Comfort Tiffany floor lamp. The truth is that he will not let anything enter his home that did not meet his impeccable standards of design. Today, when the next technology upgrade means investing in yet another set of chargers and apps, we pine for what is lasting. We long for beauty that lasts. So here, at technology's side, is a rich opportunity for heritage luxury purveyor like Tiffany. And I'm happy to share with you today a little bit of how Tiffany is commanding these opportunities. From the moment Charlie with Tiffany opened his fancy goods emporium on Lower Broadway in 1837, Tiffany had stood for breathtaking beauty and groundbreaking design that our clients, for the almost 180 years since, have invited into the most significant moments of their lives. From the seed pearl suite that Abraham Lincoln gave his bride on the occasion of his first presidential inauguration, to the starfish cuff that Cate Blanchett selected from our 2016 Blue Book collection for this year's Oscars, wherever there is a Tiffany blue box tied with a white ribbon, there is a promise of extraordinary beauty inside. But Tiffany's heritage is more than exceptional beauty for exceptional moments. Louis Comfort Tiffany, who took the helm in 1902 after his father's passing, put Tiffany at the vanguard of the Art Nouveau movement when he rendered in glass and gemstones some of nature's most alluring wonders, such as the dragonfly or the wildflowers. A half-century later, Louis Tiffany's legacy of design, innovation, and reverence was born again through the whimsical, fantastical fruits, birds, and sea creatures of designer Jean Schlumberger. When Florence-born Elsa Peretti joined Tiffany in 1974, she allowed us to see such forms as a bean, bone, and snake in intriguing and beautiful new ways. And of course, the cutting-edge creativity of Jean Moore's whimsical Tiffany windows featuring the artworks of Andy Warhol, Jasper Johns, or Robert Rauschenberg. The common thread amongst those artists, the hand of Tiffany, nurturing and supporting their creative talent. And it breathes still today. At Tiffany, we are not just inspired to reimagine nature's beauty. We are taking the lead in protecting our bounty. Up and down the jewelry and luxury goods supply chain, Tiffany honors its heritage by insisting upon environmentally and socially responsible sourcing and business practices. From Yellowstone National Park to Alaska's Bristol Bay, we have led opposition to gold mining that will threaten Mother Earth's treasures. We believe that using the power of our brand and our voice to advocate for critical issues is one of the most important things we can do. Tiffany led the charge for United States participation in the Kimberley process to halt the immoral trade in so-called conflict diamonds that basically finance war, repression, and genocide. And today, we're working across industries to strengthen mining standards, inviting better and more consistent regulation. After all, it was in the Kimberley mines of South Africa that a 287-carat rough yellow diamond was discovered in 1877. The stone, purchased by our founder and cut in Paris to its magnificent 128 carats, is the priceless Tiffany diamond, which lives on the first floor of our New York City flagship on Fifth Avenue. Here, it is worth pausing to note that sustainability is not only about the social and environmental, but about art, about empowering the next generation of creative minds to continue the tradition. We honor Tiffany's tradition of artistry by investing quite literally in the Louis Tiffany's who are yet unknown among the next generation of great artists. Tiffany has partnered with the Whitney Museum of American Art to sponsor the next 3 Whitney Biennales in 2017, 19, and 2021. The Biennale itself is quintessential Tiffany, an invitational show by a world-class house of American art with a long history of discovering young or unknown artists and introducing them to the global public that flocks to New York City for creative discovery. Because Tiffany is confident that great art will always hold great value for humankind, no matter where technology takes us. This same confidence was at the heart of Apple's brilliance. Remember, their genius was not in computer science, but in design and aesthetics. Machine designs to be, quote, light, white, bright, and pure. Words that could have been describing perfect Tiffany diamond. And it charms all of us at Tiffany to know that when Apple's design team was puzzling over the Macintosh, they went on a field trip to see the Tiffany glass exhibit at the Met. As Jobs' biographer, Walter Isaacson, wrote, he believed he and his designers were artists and could learn from Louis Tiffany's example of creating great art that could be produced at scale. Whether casting light or keeping time, that is how Tiffany has conceived our work for 179 years. Beauty that inspires, beauty that lasts. When we set about designing the CD60, for example, we want it to be a very personal companion that lives together with the wearer. And so our craftsmen give the watch automatic movement that require no battery and only work when it is on the wrist, riding the motions of everyday life. In this age of automation, we recognize that our niche is artisanship. Whether it's our centuries-old pedigree in Swiss watchmaking reborn in the CD60, or the legendary Tiffany setting 6-pronged engagement ring, the most famous piece of jewelry in the world, which, by the way, hasn't required an upgrade or improvement in 130 years. In fact, our latest ad campaign features real artisans declaring, "I will," not as a wedding vow, but as a commitment to uncut, unpolish, and uncraft each Tiffany setting engagement ring, just as it was done 130 years ago. What an incredible example of technology not disrupting, but enabling these skilled tradesmen and women to carry on and pass on the same tradition of quality and excellence. Perhaps as startling as innovation can be, just as miraculous is this example of perfect design that's still coveted 130 years later.
There are diamonds, and then there's a Tiffany diamond. A diamond so rare and beautiful, 99.96% are rejected. A diamond that's worthy of the one ring that makes others seem unimportant. These are the hands of Tiffany makers, and this is the diamond they cut and polish, so it sparkles, scintillates, and disperses light like no other. This is a Tiffany diamond, and this is the Tiffany setting.
This, the story behind the ring, is important. Because when we conceive of art as living, and the buyer invests wealth in owning art, each piece has an origin story, where it came from, or it came to be, or far it traveled, its impact or cost on the world. This origin story holds value for the modern day buyer, and so traceability and in our vertically integrated supply chain isn't just about corporate social responsibility. It's also about storytelling and forging that personal connection between owner and artwork. We source rough diamonds from non-mines and polish them ourselves in our own state-of-the-art Tiffany workshops in places like Botswana or Mauritius. That means we can say more than anyone about our diamonds and their journey from mine to end. This journey, uniquely Tiffany, unique to each diamond, resonates with meanings to the modern generation who demand to know where their food is grown, let alone their most important, most valuable jewelry. And just when online shopping feels if it's taking on, over the in-store experience, Tiffany has found opportunity in the flip side of the mobile commerce phenomenon, the human craving to experience life in person. Yes, we luxury house must explore what more we can offer our customers by way of technology-driven experiences. And we are. In fact, we are judged best in class digitally, and we celebrate our brand on every social media platform. You can even try on a virtual Tiffany ring and see how it looks on your beautiful hand from the comfort of home using our mobile ring finder app. But Tiffany is also taking this time to invest in the theater of our stores, the luxury brick and mortar boutiques where the magic lives, the wonder of the feeling of feeling the bracelet on the wrist and of watching the diamond twinkle on the hand. We're investing multi-millions to reimagine some of our most important locations wherever in the world, from Beverly Hills to Guangzhou, Vancouver to Zurich. We are taking a more serious presence even in Europe, and with new stores in Rome, Venice, and Amsterdam. We remain confident in the world, in China, with new stores to come, in China's burgeoning Tier 2 cities, including Chengdu, where we just opened Tiffany's largest store in mainland China. And Tiffany, which is already one of the Australian largest luxury brands, is opening our first ever store in New Zealand. Each of these new and reimagined stores embodies the Tiffany heritage and wonderfully leveraging our expertise in all things digital. We have added private sales salons, allowing customers to sit and savor the selections without distracting or intrusion. We want our stores to be a place where our clients can explore, try on our treasures, and chat up our gemological experts. Or come in and simply savor a flute of champagne while having their engagement ring cleaned. A tradition of hospitality celebrated in Breakfast at Tiffany.
Don't you just love it? Love what? Tiffany's. Isn't it wonderful? Do you see what I mean? How nothing bad could ever happen to you in a place like this? It isn't that I give a hoot about jewelry except diamonds, of course. Like that.
You might notice that in our bigger boutiques, dramatic high ceilings hung with cascading crystal chandeliers draw the eyes up and invite dreams to soar. Because what is most quintessentially Tiffany, and frankly, quintessentially American, is that we believe all dreams are created equal. And no matter how big or small, we're in the business of making dreams come true. Whether a client is a president or princess, a young woman who just made partner at a law firm, good for her, or simply a hopeful bridegroom with his life-saving sofa in his pocket, we want them all to step through the Tiffany threshold and feel possibility. From the grand marble staircase to the light, bright salons, we want every Audrey Hepburn passing through our doors to feel important and in a space where important things happen. Whether the idea of a splurge is a $200 Elsa Peretti open-heart pendant or a multi-million-dollar diamond necklace, Tiffany has something special and spectacular for every aspirational client. It is the American way. And while it is true, Tiffany has much more than 300 stores around the world, making us more global than ever before, we remain forever a New Yorker at heart, myself included. As we meet here in New York, 3,000 miles from Silicon Valley, let's remember that radical thought and innovation does not always come with a cord attached and a microchip inside. Tiffany, after all, invented a metal, the radiant rubedo, which evokes the glow of day's first light. We introduced the engagement ring, the stained glass that Steve Jobs so loved in his lamp. And we reinterpreted sterling silver into magnificent jewelry. This is innovation. And I will argue the best kind of innovation because it lasts. And what, after all, is the point of innovation but to make people's lives better? Some of that happens in technology, yes, absolutely. I'm not surrendering my iPhone, but just as much of this betterment happens in art and in design. And at Tiffany, it is our privilege to put more beauty and sparkle into people's lives. It has been said that Tiffany invented the New York minute back in 1853, when Charles Lewis Tiffany installed the now iconic Atlas clock above the entrance to his store. One of the first public timepieces, Tiffany's Atlas clock set the time for a city that never sleeps, never stops dreaming. As we go forward into whatever world technology is dreaming up next, Tiffany holds fast to our New York heritage, our New York dreams, our passion for art, design, beauty for an inspired life, and yes, innovation. And in all of this, I like to think there is a thing, or maybe two, that technology can learn from all of us. Thank you. Time for enjoying your coffee now.
I'm sorry. A few questions for Frederic, and thank you again for joining us. Can everyone hear me? Yes? I learned recently from you, actually, that Hermes and Tiffany were started the same year.
Yeah.
What I would be interested in knowing is, do you think there's a difference fundamentally between French and American luxury?
I will be well. I'm going to use that metaphor. Yeah, both.
Does this work?
Yeah. Okay. It's a tough question, but yes. I mean, you know, you're talking about French luxury. I would rather prefer talking about European luxury because I mean, French luxury has some particularism versus differences versus Italian luxury or the kind of luxury that we can find in England. But you know, I will oversimplify by let's talk about Europe versus US in terms of luxury. First, let's be honest, clear and transparent. There are not so many expressions of American luxury. Okay, it's I don't know of any other American luxury brand than Tiffany, and I don't want to offend anyone.
Should I offend you by saying one?
Yeah, you can find another one because I always want to be right, and you know I'm a gentleman. I'm very French, but you know the truth is that where you can give a reasonably long list of European luxury brand, the list of American luxury brand is going to be quite limited. But there is a difference by nature, and I believe that I touch on that in my speech. I mean, at the risk of being a little bit caricatural, European luxury has been built historically on exclusion, being exclusive. You are the purveyor of the king or of the queen. You are doing the best thing for the elite, aristocratic elite of your countries. At a time where America was really not about aristocracy. You know that in this beautiful country, in our beautiful country, we never had kings, and no queens, maybe queens, arguably. But the main difference is that American luxury is more inclusive by opposition of being exclusive. And that's probably philosophically the main difference.
I'm sorry, maybe I should get the mic.
Take this one.
Okay.
Take the other one.
So you talked a little bit, in fact, very, very well about the service and the experience in the stores. Can you tell us a little bit more about other ways that you uniquely create the luxury atmosphere, the experience in your stores to really greet the Tiffany customer, aside from sipping champagne while the ring's getting clean? But I'm thinking more, what are some of the things that are important to you in that aspect?
Yeah, there are a few things that all of us, I guess, are sharing, have in common. It's that even if most of us or all of us are evolving and working for luxury goods company, this world has been reset by some other competitors that are not necessarily luxury competitors. And let me use a very simple example, Amazon. All of us are consumers of, to some extent, Amazon service. When you order something on Amazon, you have a very, very rapid answer. You receive everything instantly. And by the way, it's delivered at your door on the same day if you're living in New York or in some selected city. So us luxury brands, we have to take into consideration those kind of quality of service. And it's putting a lot of pressure on our own ability and capabilities. Now, experience is not only about the in-store experience. Experience is about every touch point that you have with customers. It's about bloggers. It's about advertising, obviously, and digital advertising and digital content. It's about the story and the stories around the brand. It's about, your internet site, but everything, every touch point is essential, because for every brand in the world, and it's even more valid for luxury brand, the importance to give always the best of yourself at every touch point is essential.
So you're, I think everyone knows, a French citizen and have had significant experience in luxury before your current position at Tiffany. Does that baggage, your personal experience, with that, do you have an additional perspective or view as to how you see Tiffany, not tomorrow or the day after, but with the long term that is typical of luxury industry? Do you see how you, with your baggage and background, would want to shape it or not? Does it make a difference?
Something that is critical for us at Tiffany is, like it is very critical, I guess, for most of you, is to understand our DNA, where we are, where are we coming from. And I was very, very serious, and I'm a strong believer about that, and all the facts are supporting this evidence. I mean, Tiffany is really a brand from New York. That's really the spirit of New York. And what is New York? I mean, New York, we can argue about the fact that is New York an American city or not. That's not my point. New York has been, and is still, and in my opinion, is always going to be one of the greatest centers of creativity. One of the centers where people are coming either to reinvent themselves or to create or to connect differently. And it has been our source of inspiration, and this is a blood that has been in the vein of Tiffany for 180 years now. So figuring the future is quite simple when you think that way. It's very complex, and you can imagine me not being willing to elaborate specifically about that. But when you're living in a city that is, I'm not going to say that New York is the capital of the world, but definitely one of the very, very dominant forces of the world, much more than any other European city, because of the different influences from Asia, Europe, US, and from everywhere in the world. I really believe that we just have to focus on that.
So I think we need to finish our questions now, but what I take away is that Tiffany is beautiful, Tiffany is eternal, Tiffany is New York, and it never sleeps. So I hope you sleep sometimes, but I certainly appreciate your coming with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. You will see on my eyes that I don't sleep often.